Welcome to the 2-Minute Drills. I'm Aram Tolegian, joined in the middle by Steve Ramirez, and on the far left, my far left, that is, Fred J. Robledo. We're talking about the annual big one in the Mission Valley League. This is usually the game that determines the league championship there. It's taking place in week 2 of the league season early this year, and that could be none other than Arroyo, 4-1, 1-0 in league, hosting Rosemead, 1-4, 1-0 in league. This was a game that I was at last year with Arroyo winning 17-13 on their way to the league championship, and then a semifinals appearance in the Mid-Valley Division playoffs. Guys, every time these two teams play, you know what to expect: a very intense, very hard-fought, very grinding, lots of big hitting type of game.
Yeah.
And that's what we expect again on Friday night.
Yeah, and I'm really curious, Rosemead in particular, because I thought they played a pretty good non-league schedule when you think of the type of non-league schedule Mission Valley League teams play. I mean, taking on San Dimas, Northview, who's turning out to have a pretty good years. I think they lost to, is it Burroughs?
Diamond Ranch, Burroughs, San Dimas, Northview.
Yeah, I mean, and then they blew out El Monte, which was expected last week for their first win. And I think their quarterback Nava has had a chance. You know, he missed all the summer while he was at Almont. Obviously, he came back. I knew he was rusty in that first game against San Dimas. I just got to think now, 5 games into the season, he's figured it out. He's a really good quarterback. I haven't seen Arroyo yet, but just looking at some of their scores, Aram, I'm starting to think that Rosemead's going to have a pretty good chance in this game.
I definitely agree with you. I mean, I thought that Rosemead, when Nava came back, was the slight favorite to win the league. Like you said, Fred, the non-league, Northview, Diamond Ranch, Burroughs, San Dimas, very, very tough non-league. They didn't win a game. Some of those turned into blowouts. But once they jumped back into league play, they whipped El Monte 35-0, and that should show you that Rosemead is back on the beam. This is a very talented senior class, guys. When you talk about guys like Lopez, Nava, Sahagan, Luna, they got guys on that team that can definitely play at this level. They're not going to be scared of Arroyo at all. But then when you look at Arroyo's non-league, like you said, Fred, I mean, they started the season by being blown out by San Marino. They've reeled off 4 straight wins since then. None of those wins has been by anything less than double figures, so that's good, but it's not the best competition.
It's the Steve argument against who?
Yeah.
Right.
Temple City, Montebello, Roland, Mountain View.
Right. But again,
I think if that's why who you play means everything. You got 1-4 against 4-1. If you flip these schedules, the records might be still the other way.
Or Rosemead might be 5-0.
Yeah.
I mean.
I don't think they would beat San Marino.
But I think if you switch your schedules, they could both be 4-1 or 4 the same way. Because I'm not sure if Arroyo could beat those teams that Rosemead lost to. So that's why, and to play this game right off the bat, Aaron, it's a great way to start that league.
Yeah, well, it's not starting league. It's week 2 of league since they got that 17 now with Marshall. What Marshall's doing in this league, I don't know. But you know, the fact remains though, this usually is the league championship game. You know, these teams do a good job, even when they play early in the season, of not screwing it up later in the year by losing to someone they shouldn't. So we got to think that whoever wins this game has the inside track to that league championship. And if you're talking about Arroyo, Freddie and Stevie, if it's them, let's say hypothetically they win this game and go 9-1 for the regular season, you're talking about a very high seed again in the Mid-Valley Division playoffs, which is big for a team like that, because that can pave the way for them to make the semifinals like they did last year.
Yeah, well,
so there's a lot at stake.
They've been in that top 4 situation the last few years because they've played this type of non-league schedule, and they've
had that kind of 9-1 record
in league. Yeah, I mean, a team who's like 6-4 or 5-5 sometimes might be the better team, but I think they just look at, you know, because of their tougher schedule, but they just look at that 9-1 record, and it's almost automatic that they give it.
It's a Singheiser game there. Any chance you can do like a pre-game tout video in the locker room? I mean, I'd love to hear what Singheiser has to say.
Yeah, he's let me in there for a playoff game a couple years ago against St. Gabriel, and then he let Escarcega in there last year when they played Sure. That was outstanding. Singheiser, man, he's always great for for publicity and for working with us. I mean, he really is. He's a guy that gets in. He's always got some funny lines after the game, you know, win or lose. And I think even Paramo would be over at Rosemead willing to give that kind of access. Boy, this is a tough game to pick. I mean, it really is. These teams are very similar. You know, Nava's a very good quarterback at Rosemead, but Chaz Miller at Arroyo's turning into one himself. You know, they both have good running backs. I mean, you know, you talk about the kid at Arroyo, I'm trying, Mesqua, Randy. You know, he's a very good running back. This is a 1,000-yard rusher from a year ago. They both have good running backs. They both can play defense. They both can hit. I just lean that Arroyo's going to win this game because they're at home. And I think it's going to be just like last year, one of those 17-13 types of games. If Rosemead won, I wouldn't be surprised. What do you guys think?
It's like I said, it looks like a very tight game. They both look equal across the board. But I just gotta have a feeling that Rosemead's schedule has hardened them up, and they're going to be able to make some plays down the stretch in a tight game and win.
Because of Nava?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with Steve. I was impressed with Nava in that first game, other than him
Northview.
Again, other than him being a little rusty.
Right.
And I know that Singheiser usually he wins these games most of the time. Whenever you have these big games in the Mission Valley League, it is usually who comes out on top. There are very few times I've seen him lose this type of game, but I just think this is going to be one of those years where Rosemead gets it done.
Well, if they get it done, they're probably going to win the league.
Yeah.
So that'll be a heck of an
the one other
accomplishment
team
for
that
them.
in this league that you can't sleep on is Gabrielino. They kind of turned it around. I don't know if you've been looking at some of their results. Their schedule isn't that bad either.
You know, they lost to Rio Hondo Prep, which turned around and lost to La Cañada.
Yeah, it's true. But
I mean, other than that, you know.
Yeah, 54-0 over Marshall.
Marshall lost to Blair. I mean,
they lost to a good Mar Vista team down by the beach, 28-18.
You know,
They
Gabrielino's
lost by
been
4
this.
points to Rio Hondo Prep. They beat Bosco Tech, which
Gabrielino's been this team where
that,
they've been on the cusp of the last few years, and they just haven't quite gotten over it. I think Rosemead and Arroyo tower over the league this year. Unless Omani gets Roy Barajas back at some point, then they could be very dangerous themselves. But you both have Rosemead, I have Arroyo. This is a very big one for that league, for that area. It's an annual rivalry. It gets very intense. I'll be out there on Friday night, very excited about it. Probably wearing shorts and a towel or something. It's going to be 110 at kickoff. But it should be fun. Rosemead visiting Arroyo for what we think will be the Mission Valley League Championship. Enjoy it.